Hello, everybody. The book is called, very originally, It's About Time. It's the story of an African startup co-authored by me and a business school professor friend of mine by the name of Adrian Saville. And we were asked 12 months ago to write the book by Coen, because he said, we're forgetting our own stories. We're growing at such a pace, we're forgetting the origins of our business. We want future generations of people who come into this business to understand the purpose and why we started it. And Adrian and I have spent the last 12 months writing this book. And to give you a short introduction, I need you to assist me a little bit. And I need to understand, in this audience, hello Adrian, my co-author, put your hand up so everyone can see you. Thank you. That's Adrian. Who in this room regards themselves as a reasonable person? Reasonable person. We have lots of reasonable people. I'm wondering if that is the best character trait to have in a world that is anything but reasonable. We live in a world where the World Uncertainty Index, which is a collab between The Economist magazine and the IMF, measures uncertainty from 1990 to the present day. And uncertainty fairly stable through the last decade of the 1990s, a big spike up at 9/11. It doubles again into the global financial crisis, doubles again into COVID, and in just 4 years, with the uncertainty around trade and the trade wars, has doubled once again to its most uncertain ever. And I talk a lot about something called the chaos advantage, and it's about how you perceive the world determines the decisions you make about the future and the actions you take as a consequence of that perception. And in the world of fintech, it's really interesting to see how you all perceive a world very differently from the way in which the incumbent banks see the world. And that becomes a strategic advantage for you because they're not going to see you coming. Now, I want to invite Coen Jonker onto the stage and ask him just a few deep and insightful questions. He's been on the stage before. A warm welcome for Coen Jonker, who is the co-founder and chief executive of Tyme Group, which is headquartered here in Singapore. It operates in the Philippines under Tyme Bank and will be rebranding in South Africa, and in future markets will trade as Tyme. The last time you were on this stage, which was, what, 5 years ago? You were one of the first founders on the stage.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Well, the last time you came on the stage 3 years ago, you had operations in South Africa. You were freshly into the Philippines. How many customers did you have?
5 million.
5 million 3 years ago. Today you have?
20 million.
19.8 million, I checked. You can't round up in these things. Now, we had a lot of people who claimed, when I asked them the question, are you a reasonable person? And a whole bunch of people stuck their hands up and said, yes, we are reasonable people. You are possibly one of the most unreasonable people I've met in a very, very long time. And can I explain why? In the context of somebody like a Nelson Mandela or a Mahatma Gandhi, or my father, for instance, who did dry land agriculture for 60 years and no matter what the weather forecast was, would plant seeds every year in the belief that the things would grow and he would have a harvest. These are deeply unreasonable people. Nelson Mandela, after 27 years in jail, comes out furious, but knowing that that will serve nothing, and says to people who've been abused for 350 years, let's play nice. Your unreasonableness is not dissimilar, because you do look at the world in all of its injustice and inequality and unfairness, and you say, well, I can't fix that. But what I will endeavor to do is start a bank which allows people at the base of the economic pyramid to be included in the financial system. So much easier to go higher up the value chain. Why did you choose service over easy?
The way I think about reasonableness is that what we perceive as reasonable is simply conditioned by what is today.
Okay.
And if you think about us as humans, our true superpower is creativity. It's imagining something that does not yet exist.
Yes.
And speaking that thing into existence. And almost by definition, that is unreasonable.
One of your early collaborators in this project said to you once, We're speaking this business into existence. We're talking about things that don't yet exist. A little bit like the science fiction writers of the 1960s and 70s. They were talking about today in ways that are coming true. You were doing the same sort of thing in building a business.
Quite right. And the way we think about it is that when you imagine something that no one else imagines, by definition, you are contrarian.
Yes.
Right? You believe something no one else does. The job of a founder and of all of us in venture is just to do one more thing. Once you're contrarian, you're on the right path. You just have to do one more thing. You have to be right.
Yes, and consistently so.
And consistently so. And if you can get that, then what is unreasonable on day one, I'm looking at my co-founder here, I think people have called us unreasonable chart, and people have called my wife Kerry unreasonable for being in this with me for a long time.
That's just you.
Okay, that's fair enough. People have called us unreasonable for a long time. But the funny thing is that once it's happened, it all seems very logical.
Completely.
And suddenly people forget how unreasonable it appeared the day that you started with the idea.
You launched a business in South Africa, which by any measure is one of the toughest places on earth to do business. I think the IMF last year said it was the 49th hardest place in the world to do business. It's had almost no growth over the last decade. It has been a victim of its own political machinations, and that has affected the economy deeply. Yet in 2019, you open a bank, which is one of the more complicated things to do in one of the most competitive banking environments in the world, where there's a very high level of performance by the incumbents. And you think to yourself, you know what they need? They need another bank. That's not reasonable.
But if you look under the surface, it was obvious, because more than half the people in South Africa either didn't have a bank account or were so severely and chronically underserved that they were effectively excluded from the economy. And so I think a lot of what the world think of as unreasonableness is just people seeing things differently. And we could see that very clearly. We could see the opportunity, the commercial opportunity, but also the transformational opportunity. Because for every 1% of additional financial inclusion, you actually get a 0.1% of additional economic growth. And so we could see not only in the lives of our potential customers, but also for the economy, the potential in actually turning things around.
The next thing that would be reasonable and possibly sensible, and it's a point Adrian makes in the book, is most companies, when they're looking to expand beyond their own border, go to where it's easiest. They go to the next door country. They go to other territories where they can get to in a quick flight or a car journey even. And they look to expand. You go, all right then, where are we going next? Let's count 6 time zones. Let's go to a country of 150 million people spread over a massive number of islands where there isn't really a single cohesive idea bringing everybody together. That'll be our second market. Why? Why choose the hardest possible route to expand?
See, the way we think of it, it only looks like the hardest route. And this is where we truly believe in the power of ideas and the power of good strategy. I think another quote that Adrian adds to the book is Peter Thiel saying that competition is for amateurs.
Yes.
That strategy is for professionals, is figuring out under the surface what's going on. And here is something that we realized that wasn't obvious, and that is that the Philippines and South Africa were actually a lot more similar than you would think. And the Philippines was similar to in South Africa in ways that really mattered to our business and operating model.
You'll have to read the book to get that detail, I think, because we are on the clock. Now, Coen, you then look at Indonesia. You look to build your tech in Vietnam. Again, really hard ways to do business. And I like to summarize it by saying, you take an approach that you see the world as it is, and you choose to act in ways that others dare not act. And that takes you in 3 years from 5 million customers to 20 million customers. In 3 years' time, when you're back on the stage, because I'm sure you will be, How many customers will you have?
Well, we're actually working on our 5-year plan now, and we're saying in 5 years we'll have 60 million customers, which is 3 times the customers we have today. But I have to say something else about this unreasonableness.
Sure.
Because unreasonableness is not just about being unreasonable about the ideas you have, or let's say contrarian about your ideas. It's also being unreasonable in 2 other ways.
Yes.
The next way that I believe we need to be unreasonable is we need to be unreasonable in our expectations of ourselves and those around us.
Now, Adib was making a really interesting point. Adib, the man who climbed the mountain, and said, your job as leader is to take people along the journey and set the pace. And I fundamentally believe you set the pace, you get a 100-meter head start first, and then you put on your running shoes and they have to run barefoot behind you.
So here's how I think about people, and there are many of our team members around here. We all buy into the cultural lie that what we really want in life is money, comfort, fame, all these things. I think that's what we think we want. What we really want is an adventure. And you're only on an adventure if you're out of your comfort zone. You're only on an adventure if you're pushing yourself to potential places in yourself, to your own potential that is beyond your own imagination. And I think that a big part for all of us in achieving anything interesting is to keep pushing ourselves and those around us to achieve the one thing that I'm most passionate about, which is our full potential as human beings.
And you stretch them each and every single day and are deeply unreasonable in that process. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with African animals, but think Lion King and the characters from the Lion King, and in your own mind, think about the African spirit animal that the story of Tyme embodies. Is it Zazu, the ground hornbill that just talks a lot, hopping around, giving instructions? Is it Simba, the mighty lion? Is it Mufasa, the ghostly godfather? Is it Scar, the traitor? Is it the hyenas? Is it the African wild dog that hunts in packs, or the mighty elephant that has got legacy and generations behind us? If any wonder if you thought tigers are not African. I want to suggest to you, Coen, and I have a little surprise in here. I've identified your spirit animal. It is one of the most unreasonable creatures on earth. It even comes out backwards. It's the African honey badger. It's got a couple of characteristics. It's incredibly thick-skinned. It has great self-defense mechanisms of very strong and sharp jaws and very big claws. Young predators will only go for the African honey badger once in their lives, because once they grab it once by the scruff of its neck, to shake it, to break its neck, to devour it, they learn that it's incredibly flexible and it is able to turn in its own skin. And once it does that, it uses these claws to gouge and to fight and to bite until the predator lets it go. Only then does the predator realize that it's dealing with a very underestimated creature. Do you see yourselves like that?
I'll take it.
You'll take, no, I'll take it. This is my honey badger. Do yourself one favor before you go to bed tonight and write this down. S-T-O-F-F-E-L. Stoffel the honey badger. And you will see correlations between this creature and the business that has been built out of Africa into Southeast Asia. It's all about time. We have got books available on the Tyme stand. We look forward to seeing you there. Coen Jonker.
Bruce and Adrian, thank you so much.
And Adrian will be there. He's the draw card. Thanks, everybody.